a power with limitless growth potential. This ability allowed him to consume anything in his path to grow stronger, with the promise of regaining his human form once he reached a certain threshold. With this, he calmed down and was determined not to let his new form define him. Qin Yung began to strategize. However, his optimism quickly waned when he realized the extent of his predicament. Not only was he stuck as a pupa, but he was also trapped in a deep hole, entirely helpless without arms or legs to aid his escape. The stillness of his surroundings only added to the tension. No chirping birds, no rustling leaves, just an eerie silence that felt unnatural. But out of nowhere, a rustling in the bushes shattered the quiet. A group of rabbits emerged, their appearance initially comforting. But as they moved closer, their unnerving grins and jagged teeth revealed their true nature. These were no ordinary rabbits, they are more like skinwalkers. But even before Qin Yung could fully comprehend the threat, the creatures lunged into the hole. The moment danger struck, the tiny pupa's instincts took over. And little pupa didn't have those six-pack abs for nothing, and he also drew the memory of his grueling gym days. So he managed to summon enough strength to propel himself out of harm's way. With an explosive effort, the pupa escaped the hole, bouncing and spinning frantically like a football player until it reached the relative safety of the forest. For a brief moment, the sense of freedom was exhilarating. The forest air brushed against its shell, and the sun warmed its tiny form as it raced ahead. But the joy was short-lived. It soon became clear that it couldn't stop moving, its momentum carrying it further into the unknown. But this welcoming party couldn't get any worse, as it spawned another monster. It was a massive winged serpent that descended from the sky. Fortunately, its aim was trash, and so Qin Yung continued spinning. But he just unknowingly propelled into a murky swamp, with a mutated crocodile that was ready to eat him up. But he avoids that too, and continued propelling out of control. Fortunately, a tree nearby stopped him, but due to the impact, he was now lodged in, which made it easy for the skinwalkers to catch up. So now the pupa was sweating because he knows he can't propel himself like before. And these bunnies wouldn't even give him a second to negotiate, as they leaped in for the kill. But it turns out, Pupa was a whole different monster than them, completely devouring the bunny in one go. Buddy was a predator. Instantly, its buddies clocked out faster than they arrived, finally leaving the pupa alone. But with that said, his devouring system just proved its worth, as Pupa had acquired a new ability, the power to hop. With this, he could freely hop off the tree, but now that he thinks of it, he couldn't even feel the bunny was in his stomach at all. Thankfully, the system briefs him on why that is, and it seems like his mouth is connected to another space, meaning he could eat whenever he wanted and whatever he could, given that he could fit it in his mouth, and once fully digested, he could gain their abilities. With this in mind, Bro started to smile deviously, thinking of the possibilities, and the monsters here was already feeling the pressure. Look at their face, they were already tweaking. They weren't ready to be the victim. But it didn't take long for them to realize. This pupa doesn't have stretchable jaws like that, so he failed devouring anything that was bigger than him. From the two-headed snake, to the four-armed bear and even a blade-backed boar, which made him question why. Thankfully, the system chimed in, reminding the pupa of an important rule, and that it could only devour creatures weaker than itself or those already defeated. But even before it could process the information, the four-armed bear appeared before him, panting like crazy. It wasn't pleased about the stunt the pupa made earlier, so it started chasing him. And since the pupa doesn't have legs, he knew it was only a matter of time before the bear catches him. So he had no choice but to hop through the nearest cave he could find. Thankfully, the attempt was a success and he completely got away from the bear. But he was now falling down this massive cave. Fortunately, his small frame made it easier for him to crash without any lethal injuries.